Hello again, fellow Earthlings. Welcome back to the last episode in this series. With me, your host, Rogan, the mysterious stoner in Ebola. We left off on a pretty high note where I had finally changed my name. I had a new trucking job that was local and paid really well. And I happened to be living with my nephew, who was about 21, had his own place and everything. We were splitting rent, fellow nerd, and I was visiting my girlfriend pretty often, about every week, every other weekend or so, and things were looking pretty good. Pretty good. And then shit happened. You see, if you've never been to Michigan, then you don't know how bad the roads are up here. Not everywhere throughout all of Michigan, mainly in the big city areas around Detroit and the surrounding towns and cities. It's really fucking bad. They just don't know how to take care of their fucking roads. Of course, I didn't know this before deciding to move to Michigan permanently and to get a local trucking job there. I had no idea what I was in for. Now, I really liked the job that I had. Good pay, good overtime, great boss, probably the best boss I have ever worked for. And some things you just can't help. And I'm not complaining or anything, but you know how it is in companies where a lot of the times the new guy gets the shit equipment. The stuff that barely works, or the stuff that is in the poorest condition. Because you're the new guy. And all the other pieces of equipment are already taken. So I had not the greatest truck in the world, and going around Michigan delivering parts for car dealerships and the factories and everything, amongst other stuff for random companies. Going over a lot of those potholes, by the end of the day, you'd feel pretty beaten up. Like, not like you've been punched, but like you've been shaken around inside of a cab. Almost like a roller coaster, but not quite as fun, because you come out feeling really sore and battered. One of these potholes was a bit too much. I mean, there were times when I bounced my head off the roof, the inside roof of the cab. Well, doesn't help that I'm tall as fuck. But this one time, it got me good. Not in the head, but it was something internal. Something shifted, like it was jogged loose. And driving was never the same for me after that. Not driving in a truck anyways. Now, the last thing I wanted was to make a big ordeal out of it. And I figured if I went to my boss, told him what happened, and tried to go through company health insurance and all that crap, get whatever happened taken care of, go back out on the road to continue my job after recovery and all that shit, whoever knows how long that would take, the chances would probably be pretty high that would happen to me again. And I didn't want to go through with it. And so I had some other reasons that I could go with as well, that I actually gave to my boss as to why I needed to stop trucking. But I decided to keep the injury to myself. It wasn't really bad, but it was bad enough to where it would come back every day, especially if it had been a rough riding day and I'd gone over a lot of potholes. And like it was affecting how I would walk and everything, and there was some days I was walking with a little bit of a limp on the way home. And this was something that happened inside not my chest cavity, but I'm not really sure. I still haven't had it looked at yet, actually. But it wasn't so bad because it would be fine by the next day. But then, of course, after a rough day, come back again. So I figured, you know what? Maybe I just need to let trucking go and let this try and heal on its own. Because walking around, driving my car, it's not so bad. I figured if I gave my body the chance to heal by doing a different kind of job that was more physically active and didn't involve riding over a bunch of potholes and shit, then my body would probably heal on its own. So that's what I ended up having to do. And I left trucking for good. I ended up going back to temp agencies and bounced around between a few of them, and I actually, very fortunately, just recently got hired into a full-time job. And so that part of my life is finally looking good, but that was a while. It's been quite a long time since I've driven the truck. Before I left my trucking job, or it was either shortly before or shortly after I left it. Well, I gotta go a bit further back than that. My girlfriend and I, in addition to all this other shit that was going on, she and I had been together for almost 2 years, and we had started arguing a lot. A lot of it was bullshit stuff that we were arguing about. Some of it she didn't understand, just about how, I spoiled her with a lot of communication. She liked to talk a lot, and I'd never been in a relationship for so long before, and our honeymoon phase was over for quite a bit, and we weren't married. I'm referring to the beginnings of a relationship when two people are all over each other, and then kind of wears down, and then you see what you both actually made of. And we were starting to see what each of us were made of. There were things about me that she wanted me to change that I thought was completely illogical. I saw no good reason to change these things about myself. At least not right away, because of my living conditions and everything. I don't want to go into detail because it's a lot of bullshit. But she had some good points too. Throughout this relationship, I was learning about myself. I was discovering that I have ADD. I was 27 by this point when I learned, or maybe I was 27, 28, something like that, when I learned that I had ADD, and pretty seriously too. And it was kind of depressing for me at first. It was a lot to take in, and then come to find out, I also have RTS, which stands for Religious Trauma Syndrome. It's a lot like PTSD, but specifically in relation to people who leave religion and the effects that it has on them, and it affects them the way they live their lives every day. And I'm still discovering what symptoms from it that I have. My sister has it too, and she has some of the things we have in common. Some of it, some of hers is ridiculously worse than mine. Point being, these were shortcomings I was discovering about myself that I needed to work on, to learn, to get a hold of. And I was discovering them through this relationship that I was having. But she had her own PTSD. She had lost, well, she'd been through a lot in her life. And it took a lot of patience for her to deal with the shit she was going through in her own life at the time, with her PTSD that haunted her from her past, and with the two kids. So at the end of the day, to deal with me and my shit, she didn't have the patience for it. And I don't blame her one fucking bit. I really tried to make it work. I tried to compromise. She tried to compromise, but our compromises couldn't really meet up. And we just couldn't see eye to eye enough. And as hard as we tried, I ended up realizing we were too much for each other to handle. And I chose to walk away. I wasn't what she needed. I couldn't be what she needed and be true to myself. I couldn't be a father. And would have been nice. Maybe in another life. But in this one, I'm not father material. I'm not even sure I'm boyfriend material, really. But I realized I wasn't the man she needed. She needed someone more capable, better, more normal than me, I guess. I tried to remain friends with her because I still really liked her. I wasn't trying to get in the pants anymore or anything. I was done with the relationship part, but I still wanted to be friends. And I still really liked the kids, and I really cared about them. And I mean, we were all good friends, but she was too pissed at me. Probably still is. Like I said, I tried to be friends with her, but we kept on arguing, and as it turned out, her definition of I should say, of how a friend acts turned out to be a bit different from mine. She has different demands of her friends than I do of mine. So, of course, I don't hold myself up to other people's standards of friendship. If they're too high for me, then look, I'm gonna be comfortable with what works for me. No offense. Everyone's got their own way about it. I apparently wasn't even good enough to be a friend. As much as I gave time and money-wise and tried to be a great boyfriend and everything. I tried really hard. She opened my mind to a lot of things. She taught me a lot. She was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Some of my happiest moments were with her and her kids. But just wasn't meant to last. And unfortunately, so was the time with my nephew. He ended up getting another girlfriend. I ended up, well, he was going to have her move in, so I had to move out. And I ended up staying with my sister because I had nowhere else to go. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm still living in a basement. This is the room I stay in. Because of the job I just got, fortunately, I can move out soon. And so, that is my whole life story in 19 episodes worth of a nutshell. I know it's a big fucking nutshell. But you have no idea how many details I left out. I have no idea how many I forgot. But there's a lot. And I'm sure you have a lot of questions, which I would love to hear. So please fire away in the comments section down below. And in the future, I will do Q&A videos once I start getting enough questions and followers and everything. So, what are the following episodes going to be about? Well, the next one kind of goes back a couple years because I had this idea actually back when I was with my girlfriend, and it was originally supposed to be the two of us creating a YouTube channel about the different things we'd learned in life and helping people with just giving out our advice, realistic world advice of what we've learned throughout our lives. And that wasn't really her passion so much. She has other focuses that she's into. Although she did try to help me with this idea, and it was one of the things we argued about. But the thoughts and ideas that I had for it changed, grew, and evolved. And the next episode is actually going to be about specifically what I want to do and create in the world using this YouTube channel. Hopefully. I can't do it alone. And I'm going to need your help. I'm going to need a lot of people's help to do it. But it all starts here. Now the next video is going to be a posting of some rules. Rules for a little game that I would like to play with all of you. It's a detective game that has already been set in motion, and I'm sure you have somewhat of an idea what it could possibly be about. There will be some questions, and if anyone can answer them all correctly, the first person who does will receive a prize, a monetary prize. I don't know how much yet, but we're gonna find out. After those two videos are done and out of the way, we are gonna get on to the real shit of what is gonna be going on in this YouTube channel, at least for a bit. It goes back to my father. He taught me something that was actually kind of useful. He would have me and my siblings, after a Bible reading or watching a movie, he would ask us, now, what can we learn that we can apply to our lives from what we just read or what we just saw? It fucking sucked to do it every time because we didn't want to do that. If it was Bible reading, most of the time it was in the morning, we were tired and groggy, we didn't want to think that hard, and we hadn't been awake very long. For movies, it was a little bit different. Us kids, of course, we were watching it just to enjoy it, because watching movies was a bit of a luxury as a kid. But, of course, we weren't really prepared to be taking life lessons from it. But my father would have us do this a lot. And eventually, I got kind of good at it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to use this skill that my Christian father drilled into me, and I am going to use it to share with you what I have learned from different things that I have read or that I've watched. And we are going to start off with, of all things, the Bible itself. I cannot wait to share this shit with you guys. It is going to be great. It's going to be controversial. It's going to be fun. Get your Christian friends involved. Get your atheist friends involved. Anyone who wants to learn about the Bible, who's curious, come with an open mind. Bring your own opinions. Don't be an asshole, please. But come have some fun. It's gonna be pretty interesting, and I hope I will see you there. In the meantime, if you have enjoyed this series, please hit the like, click the notification bell after you have subscribed. If you would like to, please do. It would help a lot. And you stay safe, my friend. World's a dangerous place. Protect your body, protect your mind. And until next time, my friends, farewell.